Hello, and welcome to today's lesson from the world's leading experts on confinement, our prison residents. If you've been following the last few videos, you will be able to guess where we're going next. Because we first covered this notion that I learned from the prison residents of hurt people. And the first video looked at the hurt the hurt that I'm committing and how much hurt I'm feeling when I'm committing hurt. And in the second video, we looked at the hurt that others are committing and the hurt that they're feeling when they're committing that hurt. In the third video, we turned to the corollary of that hurt people statement that I learned from the prison residents, that they taught me that same night. And that is, healed people heal people. And we looked at what are the ways and spaces of how I can provide myself healing. And so in this fourth video, you guessed it, we'll look at how we can provide space for healing for others. Now, one thing I want to add before jumping into the meat of this content is to recognize how that corollary is stated. Healed people heal people. Meaning that we have to have engaged on that journey of healing ourselves before we can turn around and provide it to someone else. And that can be hard sometimes because we always want to fix the other, and it's so much easier to see the problem in the other. But the fact of the matter is, in most circumstances, and for most things, we can give only what we have already received. And so engage with this journey of healing for yourself first. Honor yourself. Trust that you deserve it. And then once you've engaged with it, then you can start sharing it with others and supporting others in finding that space of healing for themselves. Because the fact of the matter is, it happens every day, multiple times a day arguably, that we are in situations where we or others are hurting. It could be that spouse and that partner that has their moment of lashing out at us. It can be that child that has a temper tantrum. It can be that colleague that dropped the ball. It can be that person in the grocery store that bumped into us and knocked us out of the way. Whatever it is, in that moment, that person is hurting. And so our response is so often a response where we want to retaliate. We want to respond in anger. We want to give back like that hurt that we have received. But again, as we learned in yesterday's video, when I am hurt, what I most need is a hug. And that's the fastest way to diffuse the propagation of the hurt. And so again, if that's true for me, then I'm going to make the assumption that it's true for others. And so how can I provide that proverbial hug to the people that are hurting around me? And I definitely mean a proverbial hug because, as we've said, for me it literally is a hug, but it won't be that for everyone. You're not going to start hugging all the strangers that hurt you or that you perceive might be hurts. That's not the way this is going to work. But there is something in them that is asking to be, quote, hugged. And the journey is to find out how to best provide that. And I'll tell you, for your loved ones, you can actually, at one point, ask that question. What do you need right now? When that spouse is lashing out, what do you need right now? Now, I'll tell you, the first answers are likely going to come from anger because that's where that person is in that moment. But if you're able to continue asking the question in love, you will get to the real answers. And so that's it. How can we hug that other person in the way that they finally are able to allow their own hurt to release and to rest? Like I felt in myself, like I really hope you have taken the time and have felt for yourself as well. Because from there, we know that cycle of hurt and of violence that happens is reduced. And ultimately, I believe, gets healed. And yes, I I have engaged with this with the prison residents. Yeah. The fact of the matter is they have hurt so many people. And as difficult as it might have been at the beginning, I really allowed myself to explore and identify with that part of them that was hurting. And then to experiment with what do they need when they have their moments of aggression in our team, because it happens. How can we best support them? What is that proverbial hug we can provide to them? Now, I'll tell you, it's not a hug, because in prison we're not allowed to have physical contact for the most part. So it requires us to be creative as to how to support them in that moment. And yet, what I have seen time and time and time again with them, with myself, and with others around me, is that when I create that space for them to feel supported, to feel hugged, that hurt in them releases, and it no longer has the power to engage. And I have seen, as difficult as this might be to fathom or to accept, I have seen these really hurt people that have hurt so many people become healed people who are healing countless people. With their kids and the other residents around them and the correctional officers and our greater community. And if you do a little bit of Googling, you will find so many stories of people who are previously incarcerated, who are oh my goodness, providing to the community in just these amazingly beautiful ways. So that's a story for another time. And I just realized in yesterday's video, I actually gave an example of that, because what did I say? I said that when I'm hurting, Pete comes over and gives me a hug. He's recognizing the hurt that's happening in me. And even though I bet his response in that moment, he wants to lash out, he wants to respond in the anger with the anger that I'm tossing at him. He puts that to the side and he's able to come over and give me a hug, which is super courageous. That's him meeting me where I'm at and providing me the hug that I need so I can release that hurt so that it no longer hurts us. And the fact of the matter is that our engagements and our times of hurt have dissipated tremendously since we've put this into practice. And as always, I truly believe if I can do it, you can do it too. It takes courage, and you have that courage. And so, experiment with it. See what works. See what doesn't. And recognize and the little by little shifts that happen in your engagements, in your relationships, in yourself and in others, because you've had the courage to, instead of responding from a place of anger and hurt and frustration, rage, whatever that may be, you choose to respond from a place of care and support and peacefulness and love. I look forward to hearing what happens on this journey. And I wish you yet another brilliant day.